This week's episode of I Have Today is brought to you by the Spifter. The Spifter is a fun sifting spoon that makes cooking, baking, and decorating with sugars and spices so much fun. No more mess or wasting your spices. It's fast, clean, and easy. Everything looks and tastes delicious. It's also great for straining loose tea, getting pesky broken cork out of your wine glass, and draining liquid off food like olives and capers. Whether you're a novice cook or a gourmet chef, you'll love the results. The Spifter, the kitchen gadget that no kitchen should be without. Hey there, it's Diane Forster, and welcome to I Have Today, the show that inspires, educates, and empowers you through life's transitions. And each week on this show, I bring on the coolest, most amazing, awesome CEOs, experts, authors, influencers, and truly life changers who've gone through their own reinventions in life and have come out on the other side successful. And they come on this show to share their stories of transitions with us. So I have a question for you. Do you ever feel like you come up against resistance or self-doubt in your life? Of course, right? We all do. Well, my guest today, Elizabeth Pearson, is going to share with us 3 powerful ways that you can overcome those limiting mental negative emotions that can stop you from experiencing all the love, money, success, and happiness that you want in your life. So with that said, let me tell you what today's theme of the show is, which is how to live without resistance and self-doubt. And our intention statement is this: I have today to live without resistance. So if you're writing this down and you want to let it anchor in this week, allow that to be your mantra all week long. I have today to live without resistance. I have today to live without resistance, okay? All right, so let me tell you about Elizabeth. She's so cool. I love her. We, of course, like so much symmetry in who we are and what we do, which is why I love attracting people like this on the show, because she's such a testament to how stepping out over that line of fear, of self-doubt, of resistance can create an amazing, magical, miraculous life for you. And she's now doing work that touches her heart, soul, and spirit. And she's, dramatically helping the lives of so many other women. So, hey, Elizabeth. How are you?
Hi, Diane. I'm fantastic. Thanks so much for having me on.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you on the show. All right, so let the audience know a little bit about you by reading your bio.
Great.
So Elizabeth Pearson is a speaker, executive career coach, and author of the forthcoming book, I'm Too Busy and Other Lies We Tell Ourselves to Keep Us Stuck. I love it. She's a money mindset expert specializing in helping women entrepreneurs and executives increase their income by at least an additional 6 figures within a year. That's fantastic. Elizabeth climbed the career ladder in the traditional corporate world where she managed multi-million-dollar accounts like Target, Walmart, Amazon, Costco, Whole Foods, Disney, Ulta, CVS, Walgreens, and did work for Coca-Cola, Vitamin Water, B&G Foods, Pirates Booty, Skin Fix, and more. Oh my gosh, amazing list of clientele you worked with. She recognized corporate sales was no longer a fulfilling career for herself, so she explored her passion for coaching. After launching her own business part-time in 2016 while leading a sales division at a skincare company, she decided to leave her corporate career so that she could better serve her coaching clients. Having achieved 6 figures in her first year running the business full-time, Elizabeth continues to grow and support her clients, who typically see significant improvement within just weeks of working with her. I love that rapid results. A contributor to Forbes magazine, she regularly appears in the media, both in business and spiritual publications. All right, Elizabeth, I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome to I Have Today.
God, that sounds so nice when somebody reads all of that, You forget all the stuff that you've done.
I know. Well, that is such an important part of what we do here on the show. I am so passionate about people knowing, because your reinventions, your transitions, all of that so many people we all go through them, right, at various stages of our lives. And there's so much fear and doubt and resistance and all of those limiting beliefs and negative emotions that come along with it. So I like to bring on people who have gone through them, because it just doesn't happen overnight. You have a story, you have a history, and you've done a lot, so it needs to be acknowledged. So,
and it can actually serve, right? Once you start sharing it, it does seem like a lot of people hold back. They hold back a lot about their story. They don't want to come off as like a humble brag or something like that. But it's really not that. You know, your mess is your message, right? And yes. The more you can get it out there, the more it has an opportunity to potentially inspire others and show them that they can do it too.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Yes. Okay. So I read your bio, but what I really want to know from you is a little bit more about your story and, and then sort of what was the defining moment for you that gave you that, you know what, it's time, it's now, whatever that was for you, that deciding factor.
Yeah. So like you, I know that you spent a lot of time in Chicago. I spent about 15 years in Chicago and climbed the ladder, right? I did everything you were supposed to do after you graduate college. I kind of defaulted into a sales career. I was really good at it. I was making great money. I had the handsome husband, the house in the suburbs, the 2 beautiful daughters. And I just thought to myself, I felt bad about wanting more, because everybody else would look at my life and be like, oh, you've got everything. What else would you want? If you want anything more, you must be greedy, right? And so for a long time, I really kind of downplayed that I wanted to own my own business. I wanted to live on the West Coast. I wanted to be visible somehow so that I could share some of my spiritual journey with others. So I really sat on that for probably 6 years in Chicago. And one day after we had been struggling to keep our kids occupied on a snowy -20 wind chill day, my husband and I looked at each other and it was like, I told him, I can't do this anymore. Like, this isn't enough. I can't live here. I cannot be cooped up in this house. And so as wonderful as Chicago is, we really set the intention that we would love to explore the West Coast or a warm weather climate. And 2 months later, after we focused on that, meditated on it, and then actively looked for opportunities, my husband got a job out here, an opportunity that he worked very hard to secure. It was a long shot, and they paid to move us out here, Diane. And it wasn't cheap to move our whole family. And we moved out here with our 2-year-old and our 4-year-old daughters. And we left every family member, my best friend was my neighbor, and I'm a girl's girl. I like to have my wine nights with them during the week. And so it was really scary. And I felt really for the first time, a massive wave of resistance. Yeah. Really, that voice started not just whispering, but screaming, and then aligning things in my external world to stop me from moving forward, right? We had 3 houses fall through out here. We were living in dumpy corporate housing. I was crying every day. And then I was flying to the East Coast for CVS, my largest skincare client. And then when I wasn't flying to the East Coast, I was flying to Halifax, Nova Scotia, which literally couldn't get further away from California. And so there were a few times when I looked at Ryan, my husband, and I said, we made a huge mistake. Like, we have to go back. And thank God it was going to financially really impact us. If we did, we had to stay here or we'd have to pay back the relo. So the universe kept us here for at least 2 years. And wouldn't you know it, some of those things, when you started identifying them as resistance and then being just kind of in that uneasiness, it started to dissipate and things started to get good. But it was 100% my mindset to it. And the thing that triggered me to leave sales was I was away and my little girl got hurt at school. And they call me and say she needs to go to the ER, she needs stitches. And I was like,
goodness.
Oh my God, my husband's out of town and so am I.
Wow.
And there's no grandma, there's no emergency contact. It was one of those moments, right? Like, we didn't think about this. We thought we would both be home by the time they got done with school, but we didn't account for something like this. So that was the catalyst where I said, this is not okay. Since we don't have any support network here, somebody has to be home. And I was already coaching on the side and I loved it. And that was feeding me. The thing that was holding me back was giving up the wonderful salary that I was getting. So I said, I just have to stop. One of us has to stop. He couldn't stop. So I said, I will stop and then do this full time so that I can at least control when I'm in the state. So that was the catalyst, and we haven't looked back, and it's been incredible. But to all of your listeners out there who've ever thought about starting their own business, or maybe they hear that little whisper, but they're too scared to leave the financial security, that we've come up with. I really feel like when you take a big risk, there's an opportunity for a huge reward. And that is what happened when I finally got rid of that safety net of my job and went all in.
Yep. I love this story. Like, I don't love what happened to your daughter, but what I love is the universe, the whisper, 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 screaming, and then boom, something happens. And it's in those catastrophic, like, oh my God, moments that's what happened for you, right? And so that decisive moment, like I've had a couple of those moments in my life too, where it was just, the universe was giving me clear-cut signs, including this new move that I just did. Like, I told Kelly, like, the thing that happened that was the defining moment for me, I can't even say it on camera because it was so awful what happened.
Oh God.
But I am going to put it in a book, but it was like, boom, this is something needs to shift, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, great. So, all right. So that now, so tell me of this. I know sort of that was the biggest challenge, but what for you professionally has been this biggest challenge?
Yeah, I think it's just overcoming that imposter syndrome that we all feel. And I know men feel it as well. I've talked with many of them. I've been on a bunch of podcasts talking about it, specifically entrepreneurs. But I think as women, it just comes on a little bit stronger and more frequently. Yeah. And that's what I see with most of my clients. From an outside perspective, I'm sitting there looking at them saying, you're fabulous, you're amazing, you're well qualified for these jobs, but we tend to hold ourselves back. And I know that that's 100% what I was doing in the beginning. And I still fight with it every day. Every day I feel like, who would want to hear my opinions on anything, right. But really trying to poke holes in those lies that our head is telling us with truths. Yes. Is a really great way to kind of get past it. So I'll say, my book isn't going to sell. It's never going to be a New York Times bestseller or something like that. And then I look at all the other people that are very similar to me that have New York Times bestsellers. And I'm like, well, okay, it is possible because other people are doing it. Right. And if I really believe deep down that I am just as bright and I have just as much to offer as somebody else in a different avenue or from a different perspective, then the reality of it is it could absolutely become a bestseller, and I could do this and this and this. So for people who are listening, I would just urge you to try to catch those lies, because sometimes they'll pop up and they'll say, you're no good at this, or you're never going to lose that weight, or you're never going to make 6 figures in the first year. If you really start to look at the reality of the situation, and that is a lot of times using other people as examples, that, well, you actually can lose weight because lots of people do it every day. So it doesn't, why not you, right? It's this whole, why not me then, right?
Exactly.
If you start flipping it on its head, you're poking holes and you're letting some light of truth come in. And then the more that you can do that, I find that those voices don't totally go away, but you can quickly overcome them and get back on track and get back in alignment as soon as you can become aware of them and then fight them with a truth.
I love that. And I'm so glad you touched on the lies, because I was going to ask you about that, because that is true. These are just limiting beliefs and also known as lies. Like, I say, I learned this from a coach that I worked with. He said something to me that blew me away once. And he said, what I'm going to say is either going to piss you off or rock your world. And he said, what if everything you've ever believed about your life was a lie? And I went, that rocks my world. Yeah. Like, oh, okay, I can feel differently and believe differently about anything and everything that I want, right? It's the perception. And you touched on that. And so it is, to your point, if I can add on to that, that is so right. And I've heard that before too. And I had the same response, but I learned too that
our brain is just trying to figure things out, right? So it's stringing events and thoughts together, and it's making up everything in between.
Yes.
So they are lies.
Yes.
It's shit, a lie. And so
I know.
when I tell people, well, start saying that you're going to earn $200,000 your first year, or whatever. And they're like, well, that feels like a lie. And I'm like, yeah, but they're all lies. So why don't we just start telling ourselves lies that could
serve us.
Right. Yeah. Strengthen us and get behind us. So you're so right. Everything is a lie.
Right. Right. And it's what we believe. So, and yeah, you touched on so many things that I love. So, all right. So, and you said something else that you every day, the negative thoughts, 70% of them are negative. They just are. That's just always going to be there. So what do you do to mitigate and eliminate those? Like, do you have a routine, or, what is your go-to method to
I do
squelch those?
Well, it's not, anything that you guys haven't heard before, but I definitely meditate. I try to do that every single day. It is a really great way to just flip that switch in your brain off for a while. And a lot of times I feel like the chatter that begins to build throughout the day, I do mine at the day's end, usually around 5 or 6 or after dinner. And it's a really great way, I feel like, to just kind of filter all the BS out. And then for the rest of the night and before I go to sleep, I feel like I have a much quieter mind. But I think physical activity too. I mean, that is something that's so, common sense, but I think people are really quick to let go of their self-care. So the physical care and the meditation. But if I really start to feel like resistance is starting to pile up and it's getting worse and worse, I'm a runner. I go for a hard run and I come back and I feel like a different person. So whatever your form, maybe it's just a leisurely walk. Maybe it's being in nature. So you can really put everything in perspective, right? That everything around us is growing and blooming. And as long as we have air in our lungs, it's fine. This stuff is it's all small stuff, as they say. And I think getting in nature, especially us here in California, there's no excuse. Right. Or, if you're in Chicago, go to the botanical gardens, like get out somewhere and be in nature and be in that awe. And it will really minimize these voices and all of these problems that your mind is whipping up and making you stress about.
Yes. I love it. Okay. All right. So what I want you to share with the audience is your 3 ways that you really stop the resistance and the self-doubt.
Yeah. The first one is getting support. So Diane, I don't know about you, but I think right now we're in a very interesting time in our culture where it's type A, be proud of it, go hard. And then the more we do, the busier we are, the more self-worth we have. Don't ask for help from anybody because that's weak. But it's really the opposite. You're going to be way less productive and you're going to meet your goals with much more resistance. If you don't have a support system kind of rallied around you. And it's funny, when I talk to prospective clients, the first question I ask them is, tell me about your support network. What is your support system like? And so many times it's crickets. There isn't one. Or it's one that they might have a frenemy that they go and have wine with once a week and it's a competitive thing. Very rarely does somebody say, oh, I've got an amazing support network. Let me tell you about it. They just don't. And so if you don't have people around you that have kind of walked the path that you're trying to go down, and if you're an entrepreneur, if you don't know somebody else who's done it firsthand, they're not somebody to take advice from. They're not somebody that's going to give you really credible support and help you keep moving forward through that resistance. So I always tell people to get a coach. Coaches have been amazing in my transformation. I know you've worked with coaches, and you don't have to go it alone. And you shouldn't feel any sort of shame or way about asking for help, because if you look at all the overachievers in the world, all the billionaires, they have teams of people. Yes. And all we're saying is find one person who can really just steadily make sure that you're moving forward and you're not turning back and going back to old, unhealthy, comfortable patterns and habits, right? So support, number one, critical.
Totally. Could not agree more. I've had coaches for 7 years. I will always have coaches. I've done the group thing. I do private. I totally have support. And as a coach also, I know what that's doing for clients as well. And you're right. This is why this is an $18 billion industry, because it is so important to have that support. Okay. So that's way number one. Okay. What's way number two?
That is to take some form of action every single day towards your goal, right? So a metaphor that I use with clients that I'm talking to for the first time is I say, you've got the car, right? You've got the tool to get you where you want to go, but you're paralyzed with fear right now. You're not even turning it on, much less identifying a goal and inching towards it. So the first step is to turn the car on. We have to start going somewhere. But before we do that, we need to identify our goal too, right? So a goal without a plan is just a wish. Is that what they say? Something like that?
Yes.
So you have to be able to take action every day. But prior to that, you do need to figure out what the goal is. But then every single day, even if it's 5 minutes spent tweaking your website, networking, staying active on LinkedIn and Facebook, stuff like that, those are all things that really are building the foundation for your next move, whether that's a career transition into another field, whether it's starting your own business, or whether it's just mentally strengthening yourself for the day that you do want to leave, right? You can feel more prepared. So some days you might feel like that becomes the low priority and you don't have time to do it because you're exercising, you're meditating, you're taking care of your kids, you're doing all this other stuff, but it will keep the momentum going, right? And momentum is so important. So when you just stop doing things and taking action, you're dead in the water. You have to keep moving every single day towards your goal, even if it feels like a baby step.
Yes. That's so funny. I love that you said that. Of course, we have so much symmetry. I had a Facebook memory pop up yesterday of something that I posted, I want to say 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago. And it was just a meme that I wrote that said, even now I'm paraphrasing, I can't even remember what I wrote, but it basically said what you just said, which was, it's in all the little steps that you build that momentum. And I hashtagged it, keep going. And then I saw it yesterday and I was like, this still applies today, and hashtagged it, still keep going. Like, that is how the progress happens. That momentum is just by taking those action steps. Okay, love it.
Absolutely.
All right,
I love that you said that, because I had a memory pop up in my phone today. This day, 2 years ago, we moved to California.
Oh my gosh.
It's a picture of us with our children who look tiny now, right? But a 2 and a 4-year-old, and just this big grin on our face for all of the possibility, right? And I had no idea it would be so hard. But now looking back on that, it's incredible. But to your point, it's doing things that scare you every day, or doing things that might be met with resistance. But, Stephen Pressfield, who wrote so many books on resistance.
I know, I love it.
Highly recommend, right? But resistance can be good, because if you're feeling resistance, it probably means that you're starting to take risks and get out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
So you can even flip the whole idea of resistance and self-doubt on its head and see it as something to be grateful for, but you just have to move through it, right? You just can't let it paralyze
you. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I love it. So get support and take action every day. And then what is the third way?
Yeah. So that is to always do something that the future you would be proud of, right? Or thank you for. So this could be anything. This could be booking a call with a coach. This could be signing up for an online course that you've been wanting to do. It could be reaching out to somebody that could help your career on LinkedIn and sending them a wonderful note and setting up a coffee. It could be any one of those things. It could be getting up and going for a walk, right? Something that's going to make your body feel good. But just try to do one thing, at least one thing, hopefully it's more than that, every day that future you will be grateful for. Because to your point, it is cumulative and it will add up. And before you know it, 2 years from now, you could be like us, you're sitting here and you don't even recognize the person that was there 2 years ago, because now you're in such a wildly different place. And oftentimes it's a much better place. Even if it's in, a lot of my clients are in tricky relationships, right? And
very much so.
Just knowing your bio too, it's really I think it's a courageous thing to get a divorce and leave a situation that's no longer serving you. Mm-hmm. But there's this whole, shame smeary thing over divorce. And a lot of women are fearful to actually do that or to be on their own. Yeah. And they're just kind of trapped. They're not miserable. This is what they always lead with. Well, I'm not miserable. I'm like, well, dang, that's the bar. That is a low bar.
Yeah.
And have enough confidence and self-worth that you're going to leave things behind that no longer serve you. So it could be toxic relationships with girlfriends, guy friends. It could be having the extra glass of wine at night that you don't really need. You're just kind of numbing out. It could be the trash TV. It could be all of this stuff, right? If you can just identify, doing things are just as important as not doing things, right? So maybe it's not that I'm going to actively do something, but I'm not going to revert back to old toxic habits that keep me where I am.
Yes. Well said. I love that. And you touched on something that I talk about too when I'm out speaking, because there are a lot of people who've been through a lot of trauma in their lives and had bad things happen. But the sector that I talk to a lot is they are just humming along and nothing's necessarily wrong, right. But there is, like you, I'm passionate about it too. Like women, we need to live to our highest, greatest, fullest potential. We got to step up and step out of that because we are so talented and gifted and we have so much to offer the world. So I love that you're covering all of this and you're out there doing this amazing work. I'm so happy.
And not only that, but I tell a lot of my women clients too, who are just kind of in that cage of mediocrity. They're not the fire isn't under their feet just yet, but they are starting to get curious about spirituality or development in their career or some aspect. It's not to try to make them feel any more pressure or guilt, but we're raising a lot. I mean, everybody that I work with is a mother. We're raising these little human beings.
Yep.
So you can't, and that was the trigger for me too. I'm sitting here telling my 6-year-old Delilah, you can be anything you want. Go get it, girl. Hashtag girl power. It was all BS because here I am, a corporate drone. And it was for brands I loved with people I loved. So that was my excuse. And I was getting paid very well. But at the end of the day, I'm not walking the walk. And I am a role model for those 2 little girls. Right. So I feel like we have a specific, purpose as parents to reach our potential and take self-care for us. And that's not just a bubble bath. That's investing in yourself, right? Going after what you want because these little people are watching us.
Yes.
And we're teaching them, this is your worth. By what we do. It's not about what we say. So now that's the biggest gift of all of this. And I have reminders of my little ones everywhere because I see them looking at me and it's like, okay, don't give up on yourself today because somebody's watching you. And if you walk away from this prematurely, what am I showing them?
Exactly. Ding, 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 ding. I love all of this.
It will keep you moving forward.
If you audience out there, whether you're a man or a woman, if you're a parent, if that is the only thing you took away from this show, then this was well worth your time. Because I say the same things. They are watching everything you do. You're their model, you're their example, and you're right. And when I moved away, everyone would say, like, how could you do this? You're leaving the home that your kids grew up in and you're working at ABC, same thing. I did a great job, great clients, great money, all of those things. I was so unfulfilled. And so I walked away from everything. I sold their house, everything in it, moved cross country, and I literally just reinvented my life again. And what I taught them is your dreams matter. If I didn't do that and I stayed, it would be because of them. And so I said, nobody else's dreams come before yours. You need to go after what you want, which they both are doing because of that.
That's amazing.
And actually, truthfully, sometimes that's a little bit painful for me because they're so independent. They're out there. And then I go, no. This is exactly how I want them to be.
Yes.
This is good. This is good. This is good.
And taking time for yourself too. So many women sacrifice their self-care because they don't want to be away from their children.
Yeah.
But I look at Delilah and Vivian, and I purposely meditate at night and I say, Mommy's going to meditate for 30 minutes. I will be back. And I park them in front of the TV, guilt-free, with a bowl of Cheerios or whatever they need to just, not kill themselves for 30 minutes. And they see me go do that. And I make sure that they see when I go for a run too. Look at Mommy. Mommy is walking away from you for a little bit because Mommy's going to take care of herself. And I think that that is a disconnect with so many parents out there. They think that they should sacrifice that time in order to, I'm not saying don't read to your kids or whatever, but I think this is just important for them to see you saying, I'm going to say goodbye to you, or I need to go have special time with my friends tonight. Mommy's going to have a play date. You can explain it to them at any age range,
Right.
And they get it. But then it's like, okay, well then I can go do that stuff too when I get older, and there's no guilt, right? I don't feel guilty about that stuff. And I really used to. That was a huge hump I had to get over. And like you said, dragging, I was the one who dragged everybody out here, right? Everybody didn't get it, but it was light. It was burning the boats. We couldn't go back.
That's what I said.
Here, you got to burn the boats sometimes.
Got to burn the boats.
You will go back.
Right.
It's easy. Don't make it easy on yourself to go back.
Yeah. I just burned the boats. May 1st, I gave notice at my condo. I said, I need to get my business out of my home. I need to separate my life. And I burned the boats. I gave notice to the landlord. I had no idea where I was going to live, what I was going to do. And Elizabeth, this is the way the universe works. Magic happened on May 24th. It was 24 days later. I had a week till I had to move.
Oh my
and
God.
Both things landed in the same day, like magical. And it was incredible.
It's that wonderful surrender,
It's
right?
the best. It's the best.
When you surrender, it's like the universe is just like, let me knock your socks off. I'm going to let you get a little bit nervous towards the end.
Of course.
Make sure you really want it, right?
Yeah.
And that's the resistance that comes up for entrepreneurs too. You might have to really you see this 10-foot wave coming, and you can either let it take you out, or you can grab your surfboard, see that it's coming, and go over it and get a little bit wet and bumped up, but you're going to get past it. But it's the people that they know the wave's coming and they don't even attempt it.
Right.
But it leaves so much runway then for the people who are risk takers. That's why there's so few, I think, billionaires and millionaires, because everybody else they won't even think about it. They won't even dare to imagine it. And that is a crisis, this fear-based mentality. And so shows like yours are incredible to help keep the faith, right? And help people just keep taking those baby steps forward so that you can ultimately look back on your life without regret.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question I ask all my guests. Yeah. How do you live the I Have Today way?
Well, I try to be present in every moment and embrace the struggle. Yes. So I think everybody probably has some sort of struggle that they have every day. And I try to remind myself that this is the good part, right? So there's a Jeff Bezos meme going around, right? Of him and his computer with like the Amazon spray painted on his wall, like this. Everybody starts somewhere. And now it's like everybody looks back with rose-colored glasses. And I'm like, oh, wasn't that fun when we were hustling and struggling and all this stuff? And I try to put myself in that place of someday I'm going to look back on this and miss it. I'm going to miss these days when I have back-to-back clients and press and all of this other stuff that can feel overwhelming. Today, I'm going to be present and grateful in every single moment, because I know that someday when I'm on that yacht, maybe we'll be drinking rosé together on some
love it. Oh, we will be. We will,
look back on this and say, wow, wasn't that so much fun? I wish I would have paid more attention to that and been grateful in those moments versus trying to rush through them.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. I can tell you love your life and you're feeling it. It's a beautiful thing. All right. Is there one final piece of advice or something you'd like to share with the audience before I let the audience know how they can find out more about you?
Yeah. And you already kind of hit on it, but don't give up. I know that lots of people say that But if you need to hear it again today, there's some reason that you're listening to this. There's some reason that these words are getting into your ears today. Don't give up. You won't regret it. It will happen, but you have to keep at it every single day. You have to keep going. Hashtag keep going. But you have to do it. It's so easy to give up. Don't let this be the lifetime that you didn't fulfill your potential. Don't let this be the lifetime where you get to the end of your life and you look back and you wonder what if, right? It's so much easier to risk everything now and keep going and at least strive for whatever that deep level of personal greatness that we all have, by the way. Everybody has some amazing level of powerful greatness. But just keep going. Don't give up. Whatever your dream is, never, ever, ever surrender. Never give up.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So how can people find out more about you?
It's super easy. You can just check out elizabethpearson.com. It's one word. You can hit the freebies tab too. There's all sorts of fun freebies there, but there's really great money mindset block release exercises. There's a focus wheel on how to bring things in your life through focusing, through gratitude. So there's all sorts of fun stuff. There's a YouTube channel linked there as well. So if you like this, you can hear more videos. I do little 5-minute videos every week with just some nuggets from spiritual teachers and success coaches that I've had. So lots of free stuff. So just check it out if you want more content.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And thanks for being on the show. You're a kindred spirit and we're on this journey together. And it's like, while we burn the boats, also, a rising tide raises all ships. And so we're in this together, collaborating and supporting, like you said from the beginning, like the number one thing you need is support. So I appreciate you and all you're doing and having you on the show, powerfully influencing our audience as well. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for the opportunity. The pleasure is all mine.
You are so welcome. So, all right. And if you want to find out more information about me, you can go to dianeforster.com, DIANEFORSTER. Please go to iTunes and subscribe to my podcast at I Have Today with Diane Forster. Catch our show. It's currently on Facebook on my page, I Have Today with Diane Forster. And also we have tons of freebies out there as well. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. Please tell a friend, share this link, and let people know about this work. Find your tribe, build your tribe together, start being around people who will elevate you and lift you and support you in you, eliminating the resistance and self-doubt so that you can live to your highest, greatest, fullest potential. So until next time, I'm Diane Forster. Take care. Bye-bye.